everyone, welcome to the latest episode of Healthcare Innovation Podcast by Healthark Insights. So today we have with us Swathi Kulkarni. She has around 20 years of experience in this industry across various domains involving general management, product development, and growth strategy. She's deeply passionate about solving women's healthcare problems. And thank you, Swathi, for taking out time and joining with us. Currently, Swathi is working in the capacity of founder and CEO of Elda Health. And Swathi, over to you. I think our viewers and listeners would be keen to, know about your entrepreneur journey and how all this started. So
Ritu,
excited to hear that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, thank you so much for hosting me today. It's a pleasure to be a part of this conversation. And like you had mentioned, I'm super passionate about women's healthcare. I've been in this industry for a while now and really look forward to our conversation talking about healthcare, especially with women.
Yeah. So maybe you can, start with your entrepreneurial journey, how it started, and what was the motivation behind it, what made you, work towards women's sector and the addressing their healthcare needs, especially in Indian context.
Sure. So I think a no-brainer is I'm a woman. I've gone through these problems myself. So not just as a founder, but as a consumer of all these concerns, it just seemed natural that somebody had to wake up one day and do something about this space. So I think I would say that was a compelling factor in itself. But the other reason was probably the upbringing that I had. I come from a family of doctors. My father's a retired army gynecologist. So these conversations were like dinner table conversations at home. So we would speak, we would sit for a cup of coffee and tea and we would talk about women's health. Why isn't this getting done? Why isn't that getting done? Can we do this better? So it's not just me, but everybody in the family just felt like somebody needs to do something about this and this space. I think that was another reason. The third and probably the turning factor in my life was I did my MBA from ISB when my son was 2.5 years old. So I was one of the first few mothers in the campus, on the campus. And, I just felt like somebody needed to do something to support women across the board. I had a great support system at ISB, from the professors to the administration, to my friends or my batchmates. But there are some concerns that are so typical to women, especially mothers, that when I came out of ISB, I said, I want to work with a startup. I want to ensure that, whatever I'm doing is actually making a big impact. So I skipped the job offer from Google and joined a startup post ISB. I think that was the transition factor to becoming a founder. And the journey, the last 11 odd years since then have just been like a path towards, building this company in the women's healthcare sector. So Ritu, I think it was almost like destiny had so conspired that I would do this.
Right. Yeah. And I think it was a, big and a brave decision in itself to, transition to startup and, try to build products, build companies and see how you are making impact. Not each and everyone would, prefer to do that preferably.
That's true. I think I keep joking about this with my founder friends, right? I think it's an addiction. We as founders don't like when there is no challenge. We have to create structure from chaos. So we're always looking for some new problem. And I think when we go to bed that night, we're like, okay, ye 4 problems solve kar diye hain, now we've got another 5 problems to solve. So that definitely keeps us going as founders, especially of startups.
Great to know. So, Swathi, I would like to know how, what were the things, maybe sequentially that you did, and then because Elda Health is recently there from last 2 years, but I can see that before Elda also you were deeply involved in solving women's problems. So what all were the key areas that you touched upon and how all of that led to the formation of Elda Health, which is, we all know, very successful today?
Yeah. So Ritu, it's been a journey for me personally as a founder. I think it's also been a journey for our industry and our country. So if you look at the last decade, there's so much that has happened in terms of, women empowerment, in terms of our health becoming focus. I think post-COVID, the way we all look at health has really changed. We're all a lot more conscious about being healthy, being fit, ensuring that we are looking at both preventive as well as curative health. But I'll talk a little bit about my journey so far. I'm an engineer, like most of us are, in the country. I was an electronics engineering graduate. I was a university topper. So obviously the focus, everybody thought I'm going to do a PhD and, solve some real great problems, but that was not destined to be. I worked with the semiconductor industry for around 6.5, 7 years. But post my ISB, I really wanted to do something that was closer to people. And I think this entire digital era really changed the way I was looking at stuff. I worked with a number of startups before founding Elda. And my passion has always been understanding consumers. How do you understand consumers without expecting them to actively lay out, what they're saying? I'm also super passionate about growth hacking. So how do you build a brand without, literally breaking your bank? I think has been another area of my passion. Now, how did Elda come to be? I've worked with companies in the past that are focused on women. There was a company which was in the event invitation stationery space where I was a general manager of India. That was primarily our customers were just women. And of course, Noah, my previous company that I had co-founded, is also in the women's health and hygiene product space. When I decided to build something in the healthcare space for women, I wanted to see the entire user journey, right? Which is from menarche. Menarche is the time when the young girl gets her first period, to menopause, which is when women stop having periods for a year. Then you call them menopausal women. So we did an entire user journey from menarche to menopause. And both me and my co-founders, I have two co-founders. One is a very senior gynecologist and menopause specialist, Dr. Ameya. And the third co-founder is Shubham, who's a techie. He's a BITS Pilani grad, super passionate about solving for big problems at scale. So when we got together, we said, hey, what is it that we want to build? Which age group do we want to start looking at? And given that both Ameya and I are post 35, I think it was very easy to say, hey, nobody takes care of people post their reproductive ages, right? So why don't we start looking at people over the age of 35 or 40? And that's where the entire concept of menopause started. We of course, as women, I think I started having some perimenopausal sort of concerns when I was thinking about building something in this space. We spoke to around 250 women, who were over the age of 35 across cities, and then realized that nobody is doing anything about this. The problems are real. Menopause is real. Women are suffering silently. They are suffering alone. And that is when we said, let's start building in this space. And that's how Elda was conceived.
Nice. Really great to know. Okay. So moving next to what Elda Health is all about and how does it serve women? And are there any other similar products, which I think no one are, but anyone which is, close to this space? Are people, working around menopause, or this is the first time ever that has happened with Elda Health? And what is the platform, how it serves the broader women and is empowering them maybe in some or the other manner?
Yeah, so you're absolutely right. Unfortunately, there's nobody else who's focusing on menopause in India. It's a huge audience that we're talking about, Ritu. There are 150 million women in India today who are going through menopause. So you and I as women are going to spend 1/3 of our lives in this space.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And unlike pregnancy, ye choice to hai nahi ki do I want to have menopause or not? We can't decide this.
We can't decide.
So all of us, you, me, all the audience women, everybody who's ever going to take birth as a woman is going to go through menopause. Now the symptoms could vary. So you could have mild symptoms, I could have severe symptoms, but we'll all go through some concerns or the other. So I think that was a starting point for us. And when we spoke to these 250 women, we realized that nobody was paying heed to them. So when they would go to doctors, they'd say, endure kar lo, struggle, it's okay. It's a matter of 3 years, 10 years. But boss, 3 to 10 years is a huge time in your life. You can't, you really can't sort of struggle this phase. And I think that's where Elda was born, and we decided to do something. We also don't believe that this is something that we can just pop pills and solve for. We don't believe that you cannot take medication and solve for it. So I think we believe in real science and real care. Whatever programs we have are all scientific. we go through the guidelines that are not just Indian guidelines, but international guidelines. So you'll see us, for example, my co-founder, Dr. Ramya, is a part of the Menopause Society, both in India as well as, the International Menopause Society. She's a menopause specialist herself. So I think some of these things have been focused for us, but we also believe in completely holistic care, which means that you can't just treat yourself by popping pills. You have to take care of your diet. You have to take care of your lifestyle interventions, fitness. You'll also have to ensure that you're mindful. You can't be taking stress about everything. Then how do you deal with your menopause after that? So holistic health has actually been a very core offering of ours. And none of this can happen just through machines and apps. There needs to be a person, right? So we do a combination of technology as well as personal care. So real science and real care is our underlying vision or logo, if I may. And that's how Elda was born. Now we are around, we started early last year, just with a few women to understand what their concerns are. We've been, we have our programs for the last 1 year. And today, as we speak, we have 45,000 women who are a part of our community, either for our awareness programs or our healthcare programs. More and more women today are able to understand what menopause is. So if you go, for example, you mentioned you're in Ahmedabad, and we have a lot of customers in Ahmedabad also. You go outside and you ask 10 customers or 10 women, do you know about menopause? And all the women who say, I know about menopause, and they clearly know about menopause, I can write it on a paper and give it to you that they are Elda customers. Because there is such a lack of awareness in the country today about menopause that there needed to be somebody who comes and brings this out. Now, the good thing about our programs is that it takes care of everything, your diet, your health, your fitness. So we have yoga sessions, your gynecological consultations, other doctor consultations, and so on. So everybody who comes to our program, 85% of them are seeing improvement in their biomarkers. So let's say a 45-year-old lady came, she was having hot flashes, or her cholesterol levels were very high. So after 3 months of the program, she'll see that her hot flashes have reduced considerably. Her cholesterol level has gone down. She is feeling much more active and happy. So we believe and focus on health outcomes. And I think that's been our sole motto in the company.
Right. Great. I think you guys are doing great work. Really commendable.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. So, like as you said, you have, 45,000 women today. But I think the initial path, because given awareness, because even I can know, because, we have people and women and men both surrounding us. Because when we talk about awareness, menopause is just generally taken as a condition. Okay, this is normal thing. It happens. What is the fuss about it? Why? This is not a condition which needs a treatment or which needs a special care, right?
Correct.
So no one thinks like that in and around the society. So I think, the idea was great, but, to scale it up, to have 45,000 women, which you guys have today, it won't be, I believe, an easy path. So like, what were the hurdles that you faced initially, and, what still kept you guys going?
Ritu, great question. I think, I've been asked this question, or rather we ask the same question to our team members very often, right? Because I think the big gap in the country today is nobody knows about menopause. Yeah. And outside of the woman who's going through menopause, nobody feels for it. So husbands don't understand. They say, kya menopause hai? My mother also suffered it. Yeah. Just go through it, right? Yes. So this chalta hai, let's go through it. That's, I think, comes outside of the woman. The woman herself doesn't feel this way. Like, the woman doesn't say ki, I will, I'm not able to get up from the bed, but I'll spend 10 years like this on the bed, right? Or I'm feeling extremely tired and exhausted, but I'm going to struggle this way. The woman doesn't feel that way. The woman doesn't want to lose her hair and skin. The woman doesn't want to have joint pain and issues, right? The woman doesn't want to have urogenital issues. But I think the lady today in this generation, I'm a 40-year-old, so I can tell you this, that we 40 and 50-year-olds do not want to suffer this. Right. We want to go work in the office. I want to run around with my teenage children. I want to probably have grandchildren and run around with them, right? Life expectancy has increased. So with increase in life expectancy, we want to ensure that the quality of life of women is improving. So I think these were some of the challenges that we faced from the external world. Like the lady would say, I want to solve for it, but my husband doesn't understand.
Yeah.
My in-laws don't understand. My children aren't able to understand. So the first step for that was we would do awareness sessions where we would say that you bring your family members also along. Let them also come and listen to what we are saying. We had several senior male doctors sort of, put up these conversations and shared it with their husbands. Okay, listen to this. Listen to all these doctors and experts speaking about it. The second thing that we did to overcome this hurdle was we do a lot of corporate awareness programs. So we do a lot of company tie-ups and some amazing companies that we have worked with. Like we've done one with IBM, Siemens, Titan. These are all companies that are saying, hey, come educate our men and women about our problems, right? About women's health problems, about menopause. So I think that has become a good lever for us to overcome this. But I think the last thing that I'd like to say is, honestly, I have a wonderful team that doesn't look at problems as problems, but actually opportunities or challenges to build something better. So when we find a woman who's going through problems, my sales team is not a sales manager. They become counselors. They try to understand, Kia, what is it that you're going through? How can we help you? So these challenges have now turned into opportunities. Now every fourth woman who comes to Elda comes and tells us, my sister or my friend went through your journey.
Recommended,
So
yeah.
I'm coming. So the word of mouth has become very strong. You can check our Google reviews, or if you speak to any of our customers, they'll tell you that it's been a life-changing event for them. So yes, the last 1 year, we've taken some time, lot of efforts to build our brand's credibility. But it is not just us who've helped us through these challenges. It is also our customers who've gone out and said, you're suffering from menopause, go to Elda. I think that has been a big boost for us. So yeah, I don't know if I answered your question, but yeah, challenges, a lot of them, but opportunities even more to make a difference.
No, makes sense. I understand that because I can, in some manner or the other, relate to that. I have a mother in the 50s age group, so I can relate to that. Absolutely. These are real world problems. But yes, there's a lot of opportunity, right? But yes, you need to sensitize and maybe aware people around that, and then only they will maybe find value, if at all they. Yeah, absolutely. So what I understand, it's a very bright and a great thing, and I know it will achieve great miles, but what is your goal plans or vision for Elda and Elda's success? How do you think, like, in next 3 years or maybe 5 and 10 years, what do you foresee Elda's journey?
Yeah. So Ritu, like I told you earlier, 150 million women just in India.
Yeah.
1 billion women in the globe will be menopausal. So we've barely scratched the surface of menopause in our country in tier 1 and metro cities. There's a lot to be done within the country itself. If we're educated 45,000 women, we still have 149.5 million women out there, or much more than that, whom we've not touched. So I think the opportunity is really high. Also, a 40 or 50-year-old woman has enough disposable income in the house between her husband and her to spend to solve for those health issues. I think that's been a big sort of a positive for us, because we don't have to tell her ki yaar 500 rupees nikal do, just do this consultation. No, I mean, that lady is having real problems. She's anyway spending money. She was spending money going from one doctor to another, trying to figure out ki yaar, how do I solve for this? Elda is now giving her a full package of how to solve for it. So I think the potential for menopause itself is really high. We have a lot to do within the country, and of course we've got a lot of NRIs outside of the country who are Indians, who are basically connecting back to their roots and saying, I want to solve for my menopausal issues, can I do this digitally with you guys? We are looking at expansion after a few years in countries that are close to us, right, both in terms of their ethnicities as well as their needs. So that's an area where we will definitely extend into. We see a natural progression to other women's health concerns. Even today, we have a lot of menopausal women who bring their daughters along, saying, my daughter has this condition, that condition, can you help us? I also want to add this, that, quite honestly, like my first healthcare intervention was by my mother. When she was going through menopause, she handed me the first doctor consult. She handed me the first products that I should use. So we believe that the menopausal woman, a 40, 50-year-old woman in the house, is the decision maker of a family. So the future for Elda seems pretty clear and strong to me. We're a women's health platform. We'll continue to build that slowly and I won't say slowly, I think rapidly and yet steadily, ensuring that we are able to, deliver to the promise to our customers, which is we will give you health outcomes. You come to Elda and you'll feel better, not just, virtually. My perception of how I feel better, physically, mentally, and even, spiritually, if I may.
Absolutely. Great to know. Also, just for our and our viewers understanding, so once the woman, gets associated with Elda, so like how is the, how's the period? Like it is like or they need to be associated for it for a lifetime, or it is initially for a few months and they can, adopt the basic lifestyle things. How does it happen?
Yeah. So great question, Ritu. I think we are here to empower our women. I mean, I would love to get women do a program, solve for their problems, and give them the ability to solve for their own issues going forward. Right? I mean, of course, there's a business which is based on healthcare interventions, but you and I know that we've got so many problems in life. There is something or the other that keeps coming up as a woman. So we want to ensure that we are there for the lady whenever she wants us. Our programs are pretty straightforward. We've got a few subscription programs where the lady can come and she can take a 3 month, 6 months, 9 month, 1 year program based on her need. Now, if she has specific issues, which are like hot flashes, vaginal issues, mental health issues, there are different programs for each of them. But we have an over-encompassing flagship product or program called Bounce Back for menopause.
Okay.
As a menopausal woman, if you come for a Bounce Back 1 year program or a 6 months program, you will see that you're able to resolve for all your menopausal issues in a period of time, whether it's hot flashes, whether it's lethargy, whether it's mental health concerns, right? And we've had amazing results with our cohort of women who've gone through these programs. We've got Unwind, which is a mental health program. We've got restorative yoga, sexual wellness programs. So we are there for the woman when she has a problem. There is a program for her, tailored for her, right? Now, what typically women do is they come in with specific health concerns, solve for those problems, and then go into our maintenance programs. Our maintenance programs are nutrition programs. They are restorative yoga programs. So I wouldn't want to say that I would say an Elda woman is an Elda woman for life, because she will always be associated with us. We'll have her back no matter what. Whenever she wants, she can reach out to us. Doesn't mean she has to pay for our programs through her life. Of course not. We want the woman to come to us only when there is a concern, but we want her to ensure, good lifestyle changes. If she can do it by herself, great. If she is not able to manage lifestyle changes by herself, Elda is always there to provide her that support.
Right. Great. That was good to know. Also, we are now able to understand about your platform and all. As an entrepreneur, do you have any other aspirations to touch upon in your life? Anything that you would still like to, because you are so passionate and excited about building companies, solving problems from the scratch. Any other areas that you would like to touch upon in future?
Yeah, I think building a company itself is like way in the future. There's lots to be done. So I don't think I would be able to say, hey, I am now accomplished in this. I think it's a lifelong process.
Right.
But I think principally, I believe that I believe that life is to celebrate. I'm an eternal optimist. I believe in all things good.
Yeah.
Personally, I've had a lot of challenges through my journey, both health-wise and otherwise. But every challenge has been an opportunity for me. And I tell my team and my Elda women the same, that life is to celebrate. So, we should go ahead and look at the brighter side always. From an entrepreneur point of view, I think we've barely scratched the surface. Like I said, India has a number of changes that we can empower and catalyze as entrepreneurs, young and middle-aged, if I may.
Right.
And I think women coming into, the workforce, having an equal say in the household is really transforming things, right? I mean, 50% of the population is women. And if we are able to contribute to the country's, progress in any which way, to our home's progress, to the corporate's progress in any which way, I think it's a great accomplishment. One thing that I definitely want to leave you and the viewers with is mindfulness. which has been a passion for me for the last so many years. I believe that, and it's also a part of our proposition at Elda, whether it's the yoga for mind, whether it's unwind, whether it's bounce back. We always tell our women to be centered, because you have to be mindful about whatever you're doing to succeed in life. Let's not get stuck up in the rat race of life. I think we're able to do a lot more when we're able to be mindful. I'm a Vipassana meditator, so that becomes I'm principally aligned to that. So a combination of, being physically active, mentally at peace, and ensuring that, you're eating well, I think can really lead to a successful life.
Thanks, Swati. I think it was really great interacting with you, and our viewers would be more than happy with this insightful information, learning about you, knowing about you, and knowing about Elda. So we wish you a lot of success for Elda. I know it will achieve like really miles. It's a very great initiative, and you guys are doing a really commendable job. So all the best for your future journey at Elda and as an entrepreneur. Thanks very much for taking out time and joining Healthark Insights for this podcast.
Thank you so much for hosting me, and I wish you and your viewers all the very best. I just want to tell your viewers that please take care of your health and ensure that the women in your families are taken care of too. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Swati.